The moment I saw her hand hover over the safe, I felt a weight in my chest I hadn't expected. My heart thumped in a way that wasn't excitement. It was anticipation mixed with dread. We had lived in this house for 15 years, and that safe had been my private world, my corner of secrets I thought only I could touch. But tonight she insisted. She said she needed to see it. Her smile was soft, coaxing, but there was a tension in her jaw, a flicker in her eyes that made me hesitate. "Are you sure?" I asked, trying to mask the unease creeping in. She nodded, a quiet firmness that made me suspicious. "Yes. I need to understand." I stepped back and watched as her fingers danced over the combination, the tumblers clicking. I wanted to tell her to stop, to leave it be, but a strange, stubborn part of me wanted her to see. Maybe to prove she could trust me, or maybe to prove that she couldn't. The safe door swung open, and her smile faltered almost immediately. Her eyes widened, then darkened. I didn't move, didn't breathe. The world shrank to the small metal box and the quiet between us. She leaned closer, a shaky hand hovering over the contents as if afraid to touch them. I didn't expect this," she murmured, the words barely audible, a whisper of betrayal and shock. I swallowed hard. "It's just stuff," I said, though my voice trembled. My pulse was a drum in my ears. Her lips parted, but she said nothing. Instead, she turned away, and I noticed how her shoulders slumped, how the air between us thickened with unspoken truths. I remember the day I first put everything in that safe. Letters, photos, little mementos I thought no one else would ever understand. They were pieces of our past, pieces of my heart, wrapped in paper and locked behind steel. I thought they were private, sacred. I thought that no one could ever diminish what they meant. But seeing her hesitation now, the subtle recoil in her posture, I realized I had been wrong. It wasn't just what was inside the safe. It was the realization that she could be shocked, unsettled, even hurt by things that were mine. And that made me question everything: the years, the quiet intimacy of our life, the trust one thought was unshakable. I remembered the small signs, the quiet unease that had been gnawing at me for months. The way she checked her phone obsessively, the hurried texts that she hid when I entered the room, the late nights at work, that felt heavier somehow, weighted with secrecy. I told myself I was imagining it. I told myself love sometimes breeds paranoia. But now, watching her stand there, I realized that love had nothing to do with imagining. Love was about knowing. And maybe I hadn't known her at all. I need to process this," she finally said, her voice breaking. Her eyes weren't accusing, weren't angry. They were distant, haunted, and I felt a twist of guilt that I couldn't place. Was it mine for making this private moment public? Or hers for keeping her own secrets until now? I wanted to ask what she had seen. I wanted to demand the truth, to unravel the mystery in one raw, brutal question. But my mouth wouldn't move. My body was frozen by the mixture of fear and grief that comes when you realize the foundation of your life may not be solid. Her hand brushed against mine as she tried to steady herself. It was the faintest gesture, almost imperceptible, but it carried the weight of an apology she didn't know how to voice. I looked at her and saw the woman I had loved, the woman who had shared my mornings, my laughter, my silent nights. And yet I also saw a stranger, someone who might have been living in parallel to me all along. "Tell me," I whispered, though I wasn't sure if I wanted the answer. "Please. I need to know." She shook her head slowly, tears brimming. I don't even know where to start." Her voice cracked under the weight of her hesitation. "I thought I could handle it. I thought I could, but it's too much." And in that moment, I realized that what lay in the safe wasn't just physical evidence or items of memory. It was a symbol of the distance between us. The things I cherished had become a mirror, reflecting our fractures, our unspoken fears, and the slow erosion of intimacy. I thought back to the small things that had gone unnoticed, the way she laughed a little too brightly at her phone, the sudden tension when I asked about her day, the way she sometimes looked through old photos with a wistfulness I couldn't reach. Each detail now felt like a breadcrumb, leading me to the truth I hadn't wanted to face. I wanted to scream, to shake her until she told me everything. But as I looked at her, standing there with the pale light from the hallway washing over her, I realized that confrontation wouldn't heal anything. It might only break us further. "I love you," I said, the words almost a prayer. "I don't care what's in there. I love you. But we need honesty." We need each other. Her tears fell freely now, and she nodded, a tiny shaky affirmation. I was afraid. Afraid of losing you, afraid of what it meant. But I see now that keeping it from you has already done that. We sat there in silence, the safe between us like an island we had to navigate carefully. I didn't touch the contents. I didn't move closer. Instead, I let the weight of what she had seen, what I had hidden, settle over us. For the first time in years there was a pause, a space where words could finally exist without defense or accusation. The hours passed slowly. We spoke haltingly, truth by truth. Some were small, some unbearable. Each revelation cut deeper than the last, yet in that painful honesty, I saw the first glimmer of something fragile, something like hope. By the end of the night, the safe was closed again. Her hand lingered on the latch for a moment longer than necessary. Then she walked away. I stayed behind, staring at the metal box, feeling the gravity of the past and the precariousness of the future. I realized love is not the absence of betrayal. It is not blind trust or unshakable certainty. Love, I learned that night, is enduring the fracture, facing the truth and choosing over and over to hold on. And even though my chest ached and my mind spun with doubt, I found a small, stubborn certainty. We had survived the moment, and that somehow was the beginning, not the end. I closed my eyes and let the silence speak, a quiet, painful lullaby. The safe remained closed, but the truth it had exposed would remain with us forever. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough to start rebuilding what we had lost.